Eddie Alvarez having a tough go of it this past Wednesday when he fought Iuri Lapicus and ended up getting DQ'd controversially. So if you missed the fight, not very long into the fight, it seemed like Alvarez had Lapicus exactly where he wanted him, was raining down blows after getting him on the ground and was on top of him, and was DQ'd for strikes to the back of the head. Now, Lapicus was definitely moving his head to take advantage of that rule. The ref was talking to Alvarez as this was happening. This is a tough one for me, Matt. What's your reaction to first the DQ and just Eddie Alvarez in general, his run in one championship? Because it has not been great.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the actual fight in the DQ, because this was an example of a fighter trying to play to the rules of the sport, where it got him more hurt than if he just actually tried to get himself in a better position. It would have been better for him. He tried to turn his head away so that those punches would be illegal, which is a very dangerous thing to do. Punches to the back of the head, like to the base of the neck and like the spine area, those are very, very dangerous shots to take. I don't know why you would want to put yourself in that position. Like me personally, I would rather get punched in the nose a couple more times as I'm trying to work out of that position, instead of just saying, hey, I'm gonna game the system here as much as I can and eat these punches to the back of the head. That's just super dangerous. And it worked out for him, I guess, because he got the DQ victory. Lapicus did. And unfortunately for Eddie, like you kind of hinted at there, this continues his kind of bumpy ride with one championship thus far. He's 1-2 now. Nobody really remembers his win. and all three of his fights have happened have stopped in the first round. So it's like we don't have a lot of tape of Eddie in a one cage. It's all quick instances for the most part. And it sucks because I think one championship really wants Eddie to be a guy. They want him to be a face for their organization, an American with his pedigree and his background and his accomplishments in the sport, kind of carrying the flag for the, American side of the globe, as they're doing things like being on TNT, which, is a big thing. Being on cable TV in America is a huge thing, especially for mixed martial arts. So there's a lot of things that goes into this. And obviously we saw the emotion from Eddie as well after the fact. Like you can tell he's frustrated with everything going on. I just want him to, actually have fights that, we can kind of sit with and enjoy for quite some time. Like I said, man, nobody's really writing much about his successes in one championship right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Timofey Nastyukhin, pulling off that upset against Alvarez, who won championship, supposedly paid very big money for to get. So I'm right there with you that they expected him to kind of, rise to the top of the division, possibly win the belt, carry that division and be a big star. And going 1-2 so far is not ideal for the promotion. You had Chachi Sityodong, one championship CEO, come out and say after the fight that upon reviewing it, there were 4 or 5 illegal strikes. So it doesn't look like, they're going to run it back or overturn it necessarily. It looks like that's just going to have to stay with him in terms of the DQ. I also agree in terms of, Lapicus's, yeah, I'm butchering that name. Sorry, I'm going to do it. But his turning the head to, take those, make those strikes illegal, essentially, right? As you mentioned, that's very dangerous. I remember being, in Australia in 2014 when they passed a law that essentially closed down bars throughout New South Wales early because you had a trend going on of people getting drunk and then running up and hitting people in the back of the head, and a tourist died from it. And it was a huge issue. It doesn't take much. That can really seriously hurt you. Just one punch in the back of the head can kill somebody if you land in the right spot. It's a very sensitive spot. So I don't know why he would risk that, especially from a guy like Alvarez, who's raining down blows from the top and is a mixed martial arts fighter. That just seems extra dangerous. But he did technically get the DQ win, so I guess that's what he was going for. Either way, it just seems foolish. And it's hard to say, what the ref should do in that situation, what Alvarez should really do. If, the fighter's trying to move, you could go for a submission, I guess. You could kind of reposition, but it's just a crappy spot for Alvarez, who, now, as you mentioned, has gone 1-2. And I'm not sure what the promotion really does with him here, right? Do you run that fight back even though it was a DQ? Do you, attempt to do something about the rule set? What do you think is the best solution for one championship right now in their shoes with what to do with Eddie Alvarez?
So I think one is going to put him in another, obviously they're not going to like let him go or anything like that. They're going to put him in another position to fight one of their ranked fighters. Coming into this fight, he was not ranked in the top 5 of their lightweight rankings. Christian Lee's obviously the champion of that division right now. So there's interesting matchups that they could really put him in. Like you mentioned, like the loss to Nastyukhin was a big upset that nobody really expected. I don't see them putting him in that matchup. Lapicus, they're going to do something else with. I mean, Shinya Aoki already has a matchup, a very interesting one coming up against Sage Northcutt. So that should be crazy. But Gafarov is number 5. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name. So maybe you could do that. I'm not sure if he's booked right now, but they're gonna find a way to get Eddie into another big spot to where he can really showcase what he can do well. For those few moments at the beginning of this fight, he looked every bit like the Eddie Alvarez that we wanted to see. He was calm, he was patient. Even when the fight went to the ground, he attempted. I know in the moment he said that he was kind of like a little bit Alistair Overeem-ish in his recollection of the events that unfolded, but you could tell in the moment that he was trying to be calculated where he was landing the punches. I still think he has a lot of tread on the tire. Obviously, it's just going to be interesting to see how far down, I guess, the totem pole they bring him. But he has the opportunity to go out there in his next fight to right this wrong. And with a win, a knockout, another first round finish, everybody will be talking about Eddie Alvarez again in one championship. So they have to find a way to get him out there and get a win. And then from there, as the rest of the division shakes out, you can pretty much do anything with Eddie that, one wants to do. And I don't think anybody would think twice about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I agree. I don't think they're going to let him walk or anything like that. It makes sense to have him fight somebody ranked maybe lower in the ranked division, number 5, but we'll see what one ends up doing. Let us know in the comments what you think about the disqualification, if you think it was warranted, if you think it was not. What do you think about Eddie Alvarez's run in one championship so far? Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification, and just final word on this. DQ warranted, yes or no? Yay or nay?
Man, in the moment, I thought no, because I thought I was like, man, only 1 or 2 of those hit. And you have to, though. You have to. It's unfortunate. You have to. But yeah, I just want fighters to not game the rule set. That's what I would like to see.
Agreed. I think you have to DQ him, and also agreed that if you're moving your head specifically to try and get struck in the back of the head so that you end up getting a DQ, I think there should be some penalty there too. But let us know how you feel about it, because right now, Eddie Alvarez is not the star that one was hoping he would be.